भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनम् हृदयन्तस्तो हि अभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सताम् नष्टप्रायेष्व भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्ति भवति नैष्ठिकी. So let's recite this verse first. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 9, verse number 16. Yasmin viruddha gatayo hi anisham patanti vidyadayo vividha shaktaya anupurvyat tad brahma vishvabhavamekamanantem आनन्दमात्रमविकारमहं प्रपद्ये यस्मिन् विरुद्धगतयो हि अनीशं पतन्ति विद्यादयो विविधशक्तया आनुपूर्वयात् तद्ब्रह्म विश्वभवमेकमनन्तमाद्यम् आनन्दमात्रमविकारमहं प्रपद्ये यस्मिन् विरुद्धगतयो हि अनीशं पतन्ति विद्यादयो विविधशक्तया आनुपूर्वयात् तद्ब्रह्म विश्वभवमेकमनन्तमाद्यम् आनन्दमात्रमविकारमहं प्रपद्ये. Will there be any volunteers to recite this verse?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yasmin viruddha gatayo hi anisham patanti vidyadayo vividha shaktayo anupurvyat tad brahma vishwabhamekam anantamadyam आनंदमात्रम विकारम अहम प्रपद्ये. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Dandavat
Prabhu.
pranam.
Dandavat pranam, Prabhu.
Yasmin viruddha gatayo hi anisham patanti vitta adayo vidvidha shakta anupurvayat tad brahma vishwabhavam ekam anantavattam anandamatram avikaram aham prapatte. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I am trying, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Jasmin viruddha gatayo hi anisham patanti viddadayo vividha saktayo anupurvayat tat brahma vishwabhavam ekam anantam adam anandamatram abhikaram aham prapadde. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Yes, Namati, I'll try.
Yes.
Yasmin viruddha gayato hei anisam patanti vilayadayo vivita sakya anupurvat tad brahma vishwa bharam ekam anantat adyam ananda matram avikaram aham prapadye. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Mataji, can I try?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yasmin viruddha gatayo hi anisham patanti vidyadayo vividha shaktasya anupurva Tad Brahma Vishwabhavamekam Anantamattam Anandamatram Avikaramaham Prapatte. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So we can read the synonyms, translation, and purport now by Srila Prabhupada, by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Synonyms: Yasmin, in whom, Viruddha Gataya of opposite character, he, certainly, Anisham, always, Vatanti, are manifest, Vidya Adaya, knowledge and ignorance, etc. Vividha, various, Shaktaya, energies, Anupurvyat, continually, Tat, that, Brahman, Vishwabhavam, the cause of material creation, Ekam, one, Anantam, unlimited, Adyam, original, Ananda Matram, simply blissful, Avikaram, changeless, Aham, I, Prapadye, offer my obeisances. Would anyone like to read the translation?
I can try. Thank you.
Yes, Prabhuji, please.
My dear Lord, in your impersonal manifestation of Brahman, there are always two opposing elements, knowledge and ignorance. Your multi-energies are continually manifest, but the impersonal Brahman, which is undivided, original, changeless, unlimited, and blissful, is the cause of the material manifestation. Because you are the same impersonal Brahman, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Thank you, Mother.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Anybody volunteering for purport? It's a big purport.
Yes, I can try.
Yes,
First para.
please.
In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that the unlimited impersonal Brahman is the effulgence of the transcendental body of Govinda. In that unlimited effulgent aura of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there are innumerable universes with innumerable planets of different categories. Although the Supreme Person is the original cause of all causes, his impersonal effulgence, known as Brahman, is the immediate cause of the material manifestation. Dhruva Maharaja therefore offered his respectful obeisances unto the impersonal feature of the Lord. One who realizes this impersonal feature can enjoy the unchangeable Brahmananda, described here as spiritual bliss.
Can I read, Mataji?
Yes, please.
Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes this this impersonal feature or Brahman manifestation of the Supreme Lord is meant for persons who are essentially very advanced but still not able to understand the personal features or variegatedness of the spiritual world. Such devotees are known as Gyan Mishra Bhaktas, or devotees whose devotional service is mixed with empiric knowledge. Because the impersonal Brahman realization is a partial understanding of the absolute truth, Dhruva Maharaj offers his respectful obeisances. Hare Krishna.
I will read the next Mataji.
Yes, please.
It is said that this impersonal Brahman is the distinct realization of the absolute truth. Although apparently Brahman seems to be devoid of energy, factually it has different energies working under the headings of knowledge and ignorance. On account of these different energies, there is continually a manifestation of Vidya and Avidya. Vidya and Avidya are very nicely described in Ishopanishad. It is said that sometimes due to avidya or a poor fund of knowledge, one accepts the absolute truth as ultimately impersonal. But in fact, the impersonal and personal realizations develop in proportion to the development of devotional service. The more we develop our devotional service, the more closely we approach the absolute truth, which in the beginning, when we realize the absolute truth from a distant place, is manifest as impersonal.
People in general who are under the influence of avidya shakti or maya have neither knowledge nor devotion. But when a person who is little advanced and is therefore called a Gyani advances even more, he is in the category of Gyanomishra Bhakti, or a devotee whose love is mixed with empiric knowledge. When he is still further advanced, he can realize that absolute truth is a person with multi energies. An advanced devotee can understand the Lord and his creative energy. As soon as one accepts the creative energy of the absolute truth, the six opulences of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are also understood. Devotees who are still further advanced in full knowledge can understand the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. Only on that platform can one fully enjoy transcendental bliss. An example is given in this connection by Vishwanath Chakraborty Thakur of a person proceeding towards a destination. As he approaches, he sees the destination from a distant place, just as we see a city from a distance. At that time, he simply understands that the city is situated at a distance. When, however, he comes nearer, still nearer, he sees the domes and flags, but as soon as he enters the city, he sees various parks, gardens, lakes, and marketplaces with shops and persons buying. He sees varieties of cinema houses and he sees dancing and jubilation. When a person actually enters the city and personally sees the activities of the city, he becomes satisfied. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Very, very beautiful verse and very, very beautiful translation by Srila Prabhupada. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bir Krishna Das Goswami Niti Namine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai. So let's read this translation again and question ourselves why all of a sudden when we're talking about devotional service, why we may be thinking why Dhruv Maharaj is paying obeisances to the impersonal form of the Lord. My dear Lord, in your impersonal manifestation of Brahman, there are always two opposing elements, knowledge and ignorance. Your multi-energies are continually manifest, but the impersonal Brahman, which is undivided, original, changeless, unlimited, and blissful, is the cause of the material manifestation. Because you are the same impersonal Brahman, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. So definitely when I read this, when I was reading this verse, I was just thinking, impersonal Brahman, like how am I going to understand this fact that Dhruv Maharaj, he has started his journey in the search of the Lord, personal form of the Lord. He sees the personal form of the Lord, and then he is paying obeisances to the impersonal manifestation of Brahman. It was very fascinating when I started reading the purport and started understanding from the lectures of Srila Prabhupada that what actually here Dhruv Maharaj's psychology is, which was really, really beautiful. But that we're going to do it in a bit. We're going to understand that in a bit. But before that, let's first of all, we also pay our obeisance to the same impersonal Brahman. The qualities of Brahman are described herein. From the previous verse and this verse, we first of all, in the previous verse, we see that there's a comparison drawn between the jivas, the Lord and the jivas. And we see that the Lord is eternally liberated and the jivas are liberated only by the Lord's mercy. The Lord is completely pure and the jivas are contaminated. The Lord is omniscient and jivas has little knowledge. They have little knowledge. The Lord is the supreme soul, but jivas have a material bodily covering. The Lord is changeless, but jivas take many forms. He's the original personality and the cause of all causes. Jivas are not the cause. The Lord is full with 6 opulences, and jivas are without good qualities. He's the master of 3 modes. Jivas are controlled by the 3 modes. The Lord is stable in intelligence, but Jiva's intelligence is subject to conditions of waking, sleeping, and dreaming situation. The Lord is the constant seer through the Chit Shakti. Jivas have disrupted vision because his intelligence undergoes waking, sleeping, dreaming situations. The Lord situated in action of maintaining the universe, Jivas cannot even maintain himself. The last quality in the last verse was he's the enjoyer of all sacrifices, but Jivas are dependent on sacrifices. So we see that the Supreme Person is the original cause of all causes, but Brahman is the immediate cause of material manifestation. The immediate cause of material manifestation. Therefore, Dhruv is offering respects to Brahman also. Then the qualities of Brahman we are discussing here. And what are the qualities? There are various qualities. Has various energies, vividha shaktya, with contrary natures though. That's why opposing elements of knowledge and ignorance come in place. Is the cause of material creation, Vishwa Bhavam, if we actually see this text here. Then is one, Ekam, is unlimited, Anantam, is original, Adyam, is blissful, Anandamatram, and is changeless, Avikaram. So the Shaktis are also contrary in nature. The Shaktis that are contrary in nature are knowledge and ignorance, creation, and because they're contrary in nature, therefore, this is called the Shakti. Knowledge, ignorance, creation, destruction, being born and not being born. This is what in the purport Srila Prabhupada was mentioning. The avidya and vidya is there in Isopanishad. So we can go back and read from there. So being born and not being born, being inactive and full of pastimes. So being neutral, Atmaram, and being so affectionate to the devotees. So this is very beautiful. When we link it to the next verse, we may say that the Lord might have said, I agree that you know my Swaroop, though you have no material desire now, I will give you what you desired earlier. So describing his ignorance here, we repeat, describing his ignorance, Dhruv Maharaj praise for the sweetness of bhakti at the lotus feet of the Lord. And that will come in the following verses. For protection from material desires. Why? Because material desires are the obstacles to devotional service. Now, let's begin with the purport. The purport says, in the Brahma Samhita, it is said that the unlimited impersonal Brahman is the effulgence of the transcendental body of Govinda. Can anybody recall what verse this may be? What is this verse in Brahma Samhita? So this verse is from chapter 5. We have chapter 5 only with us. So this is verse number 33. I'm going to share here. We all can sing. Advaitam, Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadim, Anantarupam, Adyam Purana Purusham Navayauvanam Cha, Vedeshu Durlabham Adurlabham Atma Bhaktau, Govindamadi Purusham Amaham Bhajami. So Brahmaji says, I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is inaccessible to the Vedas, but obtainable by pure unalloyed devotion of the soul, who is without a second, who is not subject to decay, is without a beginning, whose form is endless, who is the beginning and the eternal Purusha. Eternal Purusha. Yet he is the person possessing the beauty of blooming youth. So our topic of interest here and the word of interest here is Advaitam, where the impersonal form of Brahma, of the Lord is described here by Brahma. Advaita means indivisible truth, who is knowledge absolute. Brahman, the infinite, emanates from him as his effulgence, and God immanent, Paramatma, as his constituent. But nevertheless, he remains one and indivisible. Then we go a little bit further. The sum and substance of this is, now, though he indulges in exhibiting the pastimes of births, etc., still he is without a beginning. Though he disappears after the pastimes of his appearance, still he is eternal. Though without origin, yet he is with an origin in his pastimes of appearance, and although eternal in essence, he is still a person in the full bloom of youth. So the sum and substance of it is that though he possesses diverse and apparently mutually contradictory qualities, still they are in universal harmonious concordance with dint of his unthinkable potency. Therefore, it is achintya bheda bheda tattva, which means we can't really conceive of it. This is what is meant by dharma as distinguished from the material. Then we talk about, in this purport, Srila Prabhupada talks about the Tribhanga form of the Lord. Now, how can a jiva realize such unprecedented existence? Because we are limited intellectual. In the previous verse, we understood that jivas have limited intellectual function, and they're always contaminated by the influence of time and space. So therefore, they're not in a position to shake off this limitedness. But if the potency of cognitive function does not extend to the realization of the transcendental, what else can? So this is through Gyan. In reply, Brahma says that the transcendental absolute is beyond the reach of the Vedas. The Vedas originate in sound, and sound originates in the mundane ether, sky. So the Vedas cannot present before us a direct view of the transcendental world. It's so meaningful. We can't see it. It is only when the Vedas are imbued with the Chit potency that they're enabled to deal with the transcendental. But Golok reveals itself to every Jiva soul. This is something we have to take here. In the purport of the verse, we also will come again to this section. But Goloka reveals itself to every Jiva soul when he is under the influence of the spiritual cognitive potency joined to the essence of ecstatic energy. The ecstatic function of devotion is boundless and is surcharged with unalloyed transcendental knowledge. That knowledge reveals Goloka Tattva, the principle of the highest transcendental, in unison with devotion, without asserting itself separately, but as a subsidiary to unalloyed devotion. So let's come again here. So in the Brahma Samhita, it is said that the unlimited impersonal Brahman is the effulgence of the transcendental body of Govinda. And in that unlimited effulgent aura of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there are innumerable universes with innumerable planets of different categories. We can't even think of it. Although the Supreme Person is the original cause of all causes, his impersonal effulgence, known as Brahman, is the immediate cause of the material manifestation. So, in fact, in Bhagavad Gita as well, in the last verse of 14th chapter, we see that Krishna himself says, Brahmano hi pratishtaham amritasya vyayasya. This is difficult for me to pronounce. Amritasya vyayasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukhasyaikantikasyya cha. So this is for the impersonal understanding. Krishna says that I am the basis of impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of the ultimate happiness. Now, this is for those who have not really realized, or who are not really convinced of the personal form of the Lord. So for them, God is illusion. For them, Lord's pastimes are illusion, and they negate this fact totally, that Lord has the form. However, Krishna here says that they always run a risk of falling down. But being Krishna being the basis of impersonal Brahman, he is in that position of ultimate happiness. So we see that when one actually understands the personality of Godhead, the reservoir of pleasure, he actually becomes transcendently blissful. For sure, the living entity, although Aham Brahmasmi, Brahman by nature, has the desire to lord it over the material world, and due to this, he falls down. So our reason of falling down is just the desire to lord over the material world and have envy from Krishna. In his constitutional position, a living entity is above the three modes of material nature, actually. But in association with the material nature, the material mode of nature entangles him in different modes of material nature, which is goodness, passion, and ignorance. And because we are associating with these three modes, our desire to dominate is there. But by the engagement in loving devotional service, loving not at this stage, but through sadhana, we can immediately situate ourselves in the transcendental position. And then this unlawful desire to control material nature is removed gradually. So gradually, by the association of the devotees, by the mercy of the spiritual master, this happens. So devotional service is very simple. In this verse, Srila Prabhupada mentions. So here, Dhruva Maharaj therefore offered his respectful obeisances to the impersonal feature of the Lord. Now, one who realizes this impersonal feature can enjoy the unchangeable Brahmananda. Brahmananda means the spiritual bliss. Brahma Ananda. Ananda in Brahman. Now let's answer this question. Why Dhruv Maharaj is offering prayers to the impersonal form of the Lord when he has seen the personal form of the Lord? So there are two reasons behind Dhruv Maharaj answering or offering obeisances to this form. Now, impersonal Brahman, here it implies that every one of us has the potency to become pure devotees. It was very reassuring from the Brahma Samhita, from Bhagavad Gita, that our constitutional understanding, our constitutional position, we have the potency to become pure devotees of the Lord. But right now, whatever stage we are in, whatever situation we are in, we should not take it as a discouraging factor or become hopeless. So with whatever understanding we have, we can start with the devotional service, with whatever level of knowledge we have, the realization of Krishna, the realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the Lord is realized in three features: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So if we haven't have got the understanding of realizing the Bhagavan feature, then if we are even in the Brahman level, we should not feel discouraged. So this is not a discouraging factor. Imagine the four Kumaras, if they had been discouraged, because they were impersonal, they were also believers of impersonal Brahman, Shukadev Goswami. Now, they definitely reached to that pure devotional service. So we don't have to become hopeless. Whatever understanding we have, we can start from there and keep advancing to the next levels of knowledge, to the next levels of understanding. And we can actually strive hard to see the personal form of the Lord with pure devotion. Now, we find Dhruv Maharaj is offering obeisances to the impersonal manifestation. And in the following further verses, we are going to see that Dhruv Maharaj is paying obeisances or offering obeisances to all his form. Because in the translation, it says, because you are the same impersonal Brahman. So this means he finds no difference. But this is for us to understand that how we don't have to feel hopeless, or we don't have to feel hopeless even for others who are into that Brahman, who are stuck into that understanding of Brahman realization. But they don't have to be stuck there. The thing is, they don't have to be stuck. The situations and environments should be so conducive so that they can progress. Gradually, they can progress. So Dhruv Maharaj sees the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the Narayana form as Prishni Garbha, where in the previous verses, Dhruv Maharaj was agitated. If we see how he started offering his prayers, before he was about to offer his prayers, he was agitated because he was feeling helpless for not being able to offer proper worship and proper prayers due to his inability in terms of age, in terms of knowledge, in terms of other circumstances he was in. So, and then the Lord, out of his causeless mercy, touched the forehead of Dhruv Maharaj with the conch shell, which is, the conch shell is represented as all knowledge, all Vedic knowledge. And then the The other internal reason also is that Dhruv Maharaj here is very ashamed of himself in his heart. He's very much ashamed of himself, and he's internally meditating and realizing, and he has already realized the fallacy in his desire. He has totally understood that pure devotional service is what is the need for him. He doesn't, he started with his prayers. The cause of all the episode, the cause of all his episode is the material desire. But then he understands that, he very well understands that once he has the darshan of the Lord, he understands that fact very clearly. That what he asks in the further verses is very clear, that he does not want anything material. But Krishna actually will give, because Krishna gives, the Supreme Personality of Godhead fulfills our desires in such a way that it removes our material desires. The process is such that he will fulfill it, but at the same time, from our heart, the material desires will be gone, will be gradually leave. So here we understand that Dhruv Maharaj understands here, and he's very, very much ashamed of his desire. He's very much ashamed, and he is wanting to, he's wanting that he should only be there. He should only be given this benediction to be around the devotees, to be the benediction, so that the material desires does not come in his way, in his path of bhakti. And this is what he's wanting. So with this, he has understood that to do bhakti, one should have this anya abhilashita shunyam. And we can cross-reference it from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, where they're having a conversation. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Raya, they're having a conversation. This verse, He eho haya aage kaha ara, Raya kahe prema bhakti sarva sadhya sara. So that's the sum. Prema bhakti is the sum. So at this point, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, that is all right, but still you can speak more on the subject. He's speaking from the basics. And Ramananda Raya then replied, ecstatic love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the essence of all perfection. Anya abhilashita shunyam jnana gyan karmadi anavritam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhaktir uttama. So what is the process? The process is, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur summarizes the conversation up to this point, where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says to Ramananda Rai, Eho haya aage kaha ara. This is the process accepted in devotional service, but definitely there is more than this. So please explain what is beyond. Simply executing the duties of all varnas and ashramas is not as good as offering all the results of one's activities to the Lord. When one gives up all fruitive activity and fully surrenders to the Lord, he attains swadharma tyaga, wherein he abandons the social order and takes to the renounced order. That means he becomes a sannyasi. This is definitely better. However, better than the renounced order is cultivation of knowledge mixed with devotional service. So Jnana Mishra Bhakti. It's better. Jnana Mishra Bhakti is, right now we are in the Mishra stage. Karma Mishra Bhakti, Jnana Mishra Bhakti, it's definitely better. Yet all these activities are external to the activities of the spiritual world. And there's no touch of pure devotional service in them. And this is such an important section. Pure devotional service cannot be attained by empiric philosophy, nor can perfection be attained simply by good association. Devotional service by self-realization is a different subject matter. It is untouched by fruitive activity. For one surrenders the results of the activities of the Lord, abandons prescribed duties, and accepts the renounced order of life. Such devotional service is situated on the higher platform than of empiric philosophical speculation with a mixture of bhakti. So how should our bhakti be? Srila Rupa Goswami, who is our Shiksha Guru, has clearly mentioned this. Anya abhilashita shunyam gnana karmadya navritam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhaktir uttama. One should render transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord Krishna favorably and without desire for material profit or gain through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation, without desire for material gain, without desire for any profit through material fruitive activities or any philosophical speculation. And that's the stage of pure devotional service. How? The first stage, how do we get it? So one has to practice this principle in order to make further progress. When the further progress is actually made, one comes to the platform of ecstatic loving service to the Lord. This first stage is technically called sadhana bhakti or devotional service in practice. And this is what we are doing. The result of sadhana bhakti must be ecstatic love, must be. This is the result. It must be ecstatic love, attachment for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then when by the process of sadhana bhakti, we may reach the prema bhakti stage. In the neophyte stage, sadhana bhakti includes faith, association in devotees, practicing devotional service, the bhakti ladder, shraddha, sadhu sang, bhajana kriya. Thus one freed from all unwanted things, anartha nivriti. Then one becomes fixed in devotional service, nishtha, ruchi, desires, increases his desires to act in devotional service. And then he becomes attached to the Lord, where he comes to the bhava and prema stage in his devotional service. So we see that how Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur clearly explains that this is not a very easy, impersonal Brahman realization is not like something which you can achieve easily. No, this is also an advanced stage, but this is the stage where the practitioner is not able to understand the personal feature of the Lord. And as we read in the previous verses in Brahma Samhita, the Golok actually is the right, it manifests in front of all jivas. The impersonal Brahman realization is a partial understanding of the absolute truth. Therefore, Dhruva Maharaj is paying obeisances to all the forms, and he's offering his respectful obeisances also to the impersonal Brahman. Then our point here is how to progress. So even though Dhruv Maharaj now would not want anything, still Lord fulfills all his desires. And that is the topmost love of Godhead. Krishna does not want anybody to be feeling vacant that, oh, I am doing so much and what Krishna is doing for me. Krishna, with one step, Krishna in chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita clearly said that little advancement saves us from the greatest type of danger. So he fulfills desire in such a way that our material desires also are vanquished. And Krishna says, even if we have material desires, we should still approach him instead of approaching the demigods. So here in this, Dhruv Maharaj clearly gives this conclusion that he didn't want anything. He doesn't want anything. So that's the beauty of worshiping. That's the beauty of worshiping the Lord. When we worship the Lord, we don't want anything. That's explained here in Bhagavatam Canto 2, chapter 3, verse 10. Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udarat dihi Tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. A person with broader intelligence, whether he be full of material desires or without any material desire or desiring liberation, must by all means worship the Supreme Personal Whole of the personality of Godhead. Here, Bhagwan here Krishna in Bhagavad Gita is described as Purushottam, the Supreme Personality, among all Purushas. And it is he only who can award liberation to the impersonalist by absorbing such aspirants in the Brahma Jyoti, the bodily rays of the Lord. Now, this is very important point here. The Brahma Jyoti is not separate from the Lord. As the glowing ray, sun ray is not independent of the sun disk. Therefore, one who desires to merge into the supreme impersonal Brahman, Brahma Jyoti, must also worship the Lord by Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga, initially we begin with Mishra Bhaktis, with Gyan and Karma. But the Gyan without Bhakti, Karma without Bhakti is zero. So Bhakti Yoga is especially stressed here as means of all perfection. Bhakti Yoga is the ultimate goal of both Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. And in the same way, Bhakti Yoga is the ultimate goal of different varieties of worship of the different demigods. Bhakti Yoga, thus being the supreme means of self-realization, is recommended. Akama, even if we have material desire or no material desire, we desire liberation, or we desire just serving the Lord, we still have to follow the process of Bhakti Yoga. Now, how do we do that? The very reassuring point here is, because of our avidya shakti, most of us, we don't even have knowledge or devotion. But when we become little advanced, we become jnani, and the jnani advances even more, and he becomes, with the help of bhakti, he comes in the category of Jnana Mishra Bhakti. Now, bhakti, whenever the word bhakti comes, the word devotee comes. Devotee whose love is mixed with empiric knowledge. So when he's still further advanced, he can realize the absolute truth absolute truth. He can realize that the absolute truth is a person with multiple energies. So who can understand this? An advanced devotee can understand the Lord and his creative energy. As soon as one accepts the creative energy of the absolute truth, the point here is accepting the creative energy of the absolute truth, the 6 opulences of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are also understood. Then the devotees who are still advanced in full knowledge can understand the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. So everybody's destination is that, but some of us may go directly, or some of us may fall first and then go. It is very reassuring from all the verses we have referred to that, of course, that's our constitutional right. We will reach there at some point. So when he comes still nearer, only on that platform can one fully enjoy transcendental bliss. That is spiritual bliss. And the example is beautifully given here by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, that a person who is proceeding towards a destination, as he approaches, he sees the destination from a distant place. Now, if I'm traveling to Wellington, I haven't seen Wellington, so I may think, oh, maybe it doesn't exist. Or I am going, but I can't see. But the moment I reach the airport or the train or bus or whatever, I may see from a distance that, yes, there is a city. And we see the city from a distance and we accept that, yes. So at that time, he simply understands that the city is situated at a distance. And who can understand? Only a bhakta can understand that the Lord does have personal form. So when he still comes nearer, however, he sees the domes and flags. But as soon as he enters the city, he sees various paths, gardens, lakes, marketplaces with shops and persons buying. So he sees varieties of cinemas, houses, and he sees dancing and jubilation. When the person enters the city, he personally sees the activities of the city and he becomes satisfied. So until and unless we practice without devotional service, we'll never be satisfied. So once we are in the line of devotional service, then we need to strive for pure devotional service. Now, this verse is very reassuring. And if we actually see, ask the gopis when Krishna, when Uddhava was being instructed by Krishna, Uddhav, who is the knower of all the Vedas, he studied under the expert guidance of Brahaspati. He knows everything. Then Krishna still instructed him to go to Vrindavan to know the essence of all pure knowledge. And that is where the love of gopis come from. Ask any gopi, do you know about Lord's impersonal Brahman form, Paramatma form? They'll not be interested. They'll not be even, they wouldn't even care. They would not believe. They would say, what are we saying? Because they're so immersed, so much absorbed in that Premanjana Churita, anointed with that love for Krishna. What do they have got to do with the impersonal Brahman or Brahma Jyoti? They're just so fascinated by the beauty and love for Krishna. And that is why Krishna is very, very, very dear to them. And they are very, 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 very dear to Krishna. So with this, we'll just have a very, yesterday Rasayatra Mataji was mentioning about the external and the internal environments. So from this verse, we can definitely understand our internal environment. We can protect our internal environment and try and understand. So neither knowledge nor devotion. If people in general, wherein Srila Prabhupada is saying neither knowledge nor devotion, here it means that we're extremely busy with life, lording over the material world, maintaining our lives. Then our internal environment is what we have to take care. And this is a very, very encouraging purport by Srila Prabhupada, who is telling us, whatever stage we are in, doesn't matter. Accept bhakti. Accept the creative energy of the absolute truth. Understand the six opulences of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And for sure, you will see the destination. Progress is important. So understanding and creating our internal environment, we need to make progress. And the progress for this age is very easy. In this verse, chapter 14:27, Srila Prabhupada very clearly says devotional service is easy, very easy. It's just that we just have to be convinced ourselves. So with this, like to take a halt, and I think I shouldn't have gone over. Oh, it's 8:29. Apologies. So if there's anything I have missed out or any other realization any of you want to share, please feel free. And I'll stop here.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
You have beautifully explained all the three features of the Lord by good examples. Very nice. That's another example. I remember when Srila Prabhupada said about the train. A train coming, we see the light first, and then slowly recognize the light is nothing but the train itself. And when the train arrives, we see the people around. So that is one of the another realization by which we can see the three sections of the Lord's features. This partial, then Paramatma and Bhagavan form. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah. Dandavad pranams Mataji.
Dandavad pranam,
So
Mataji.
thank you so much Mataji. You explained so nicely the 3 features of Lord with examples. So really liked it. And I just want to add one more point, Mataji, here. Here you are saying that jnana, with jnana, if you start, you can become devotee. That is with jnana mishra bhakti.
Yes.
So here in that stage also, if you use that knowledge properly, you can become devotee. If you misuse that knowledge, so chances are to fall down. Yeah.
Very
so
true.
In that way, that is very crucial period. So you have to choose what is the best way to connect with the Lord. So is
Very
it
nice.
true, Mataji? That is true. So whatever else
Yes,
you say.
Mataji, this is 100% true. Yesterday I was reading from Manashiksha, where His Holiness Shivaram Maharaj was giving his purport, and it was beautifully said that to actually practice sadhana bhakti also, we have to have 2 qualifications, very important. Number 1, we should have unlimited attraction for Krishna. And number 2, by all means, we should be humble. Because until and unless we are humble, we are not going to accept anything. We'll always be in a challenging mood. So until and unless we develop attraction for Krishna, there will not, attraction of Krishna means attraction of association of devotees, attraction. We need to attract mercy from the association of devotees, from the spiritual master, from Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, and then Krishna will give his causeless mercy.
Yes. Yes, Mataji. So the humble is very, very important. That is the one of the characteristics of Saranagati also. Kapana. Yeah.
Yes.
So, yes, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Another thing is just remember, how this Bhagavad Gita is compiled. This in the center it is bhakti, and on the 2 sides we have karma and gyan. So when they get united with the bhakti, then only the process is complete.
Yes.
So that's how beautifully Bhagavad Gita is compiled.
Yes.
Thank
So
you, Mataji.
in this verse also, we learned it in whatever stage we are in. We just have to pick up bhakti.
Yes.
As Dhruva Maharaj has picked up bhakti, even if he very well understands that his situation, he considers himself, he's so humble. He considers himself totally ignorant. He's feeling so ashamed of himself. He's feeling very sad about what was the desire he came up with. But still, he's just wanting prema bhakti.
Yeah. Yeah, that reminds me about Bhagavad Gita compilation. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Anybody else got any reflection, queries, comments, questions? Can still spare a few minutes. Doesn't seem to be so, Mataji. Thank you very much. Mataji, I really like your point in the beginning of the introduction, that you very quickly summarized the difference between the Jiva and the Supreme Person of Godhead. So very nice. It was just like a summary of yesterday's class. Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah. Thank you.
So I'd like to thank Her Grace Radha Mataji for a wonderful class, taking us on the journey of the Brahman, in the impersonal future of the Lord, and how Dhruva Maharaj was paying obeisance to the impersonal Brahman and the reason for it. Thank you, Mataji. Her Grace Radha Padma Mataji ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhaktam Ji Gottam Jaribu, Vanchakapadurvisha, Epa Sindhuvicha, Tiran Pavani Vyo, Vishnu Vyo, Namanamo.
Ananta Koti Vaishnava
Vishnu ki jai, Gaur Bhakti.